name is Luke, and I used to think the Rocky Mountains were my safe place. I grew up camping and hiking. I thought I was prepared for anything nature could throw at me, but nothing, not the weather, the wildlife, or the terrain, prepared me for what I met out there. I'm telling this because I want people to know that not everything dangerous in the wilderness walks on 4 legs. Some things walk on 2. In the summer of 2021, I decided to do a solo camping trip deep into a less trafficked area of the Rockies. I didn't want a casual hike. I wanted something challenging, remote, and quiet. I picked a region known for steep canyons, loose switchbacks, and barely any cell service. It was the kind of place where you might go 2 or 3 days without seeing another person. That was exactly what I wanted. But looking back, the isolation is probably what almost got me killed. The first day was normal. I parked at a small dirt turnout, hiked 7 miles into the backcountry, set up my tent by a creek, and cooked ramen on my little camp stove. But just before sunset, I noticed something odd. A single boot print in the mud near the creek. But it wasn't mine. It was bigger, deeper. I didn't think much of it, just assumed another hiker passed through earlier. The Rockies aren't empty, just quiet. Still, it bothered me. The tread pattern was strange, chunky, angular, almost like a work boot, not a hiking boot. I shrugged it off and went to bed. Sometime deep in the night, maybe 2 or 3 a.m., a sound woke me up. It was a single sharp whistle, like someone trying to get a friend's attention. It came from the trees behind my tent. Then, a few moments later, another one. Same pitch, same length, this time from farther away. It sounded deliberate. I sat there in my sleeping bag, heart pounding, telling myself it could be anything. Wind, a bird, something natural. But I'm not stupid. Birds don't whistle like a person trying to signal. And the wind doesn't repeat itself with the same exact pattern. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I packed up fast and hiked deeper into the canyon, partly because I didn't want to hike back toward whatever made that sound. Around noon, I reached a narrow ridge where the trail turned steep and exposed. I stopped to drink water, and when I glanced up across the ravine, my blood ran cold. Someone was standing on the opposite ridge, still, facing me, watching me. He was too far away to see clearly, but I could make out the outline. Tall, broad shoulders, dark clothing. It wasn't a ranger, and it wasn't a hiker with a giant pack. He looked empty-handed and was just standing there. I waved, trying to act normal. He didn't wave back. I blinked, looked down for half a second to zip my water bottle pouch, and when I looked back up, he was gone. The ridge was bare. Nowhere to hide except a steep drop or a dense tree line. I told myself he must have walked away. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe the sun was messing with my eyes. But deep down, I knew he'd been there, and he was watching me. I pushed hard that day, hiking another 7 miles until I reached a flat clearing surrounded by pine trees. I set up camp, but I couldn't shake the feeling someone was nearby. Right before dusk, I heard crunching in the woods behind me. Not the light patter of deer. Heavy, uneven footsteps. Human. I shouted, "Hello." No response. I grabbed my bear spray. As darkness fell, I zipped myself inside my tent, but I barely slept. Around 11 p.m., I heard something outside, rustling. Then, slow footsteps began circling my tent, deliberate, measured. I held my breath, praying it was an animal. Then I heard it. A man breathing. I didn't move an inch. After a minute, the footsteps stopped. I stayed awake until sunrise. When I finally crawled out of the tent, everything looked normal until I noticed something chilling. 2 large footprints right outside my tent door, facing it like someone had stood there for a long time, just watching. At this point, all I wanted was to get out. I packed my gear at record speed and practically jogged back toward the trail. The hike back felt wrong. I kept hearing little things, rustling behind me, rocks tumbling somewhere out of sight, and every time I turned around, the trail was empty, but I knew I wasn't alone. When I reached the narrow canyon pass, I slowed. The rocky walls closed in tight, maybe 15 feet across. Halfway through, I spotted something hanging from a branch, a piece of blue paracord tied into a noose-like loop. My paracord. I recognized the frayed end. I had cut some off 2 days earlier to hang my food bag. Someone had taken it and hung it here, directly in my path, a warning or an invitation. I froze, scanning the canyon walls. That's when I heard it again. The whistle. This time it came from behind me. Then another whistle echoed from ahead of me. One in front, one behind. They were communicating. My heart slammed into my throat. I wasn't dealing with one person. There were 2. I made a choice in that canyon. I didn't think. I just ran. Full sprint. Pack slamming against my back. Boots skidding on loose gravel. Behind me, I heard shouting. A man yelling something I couldn't understand. Then the rapid crunch of footsteps. They were chasing me. I don't know how long I ran. My lungs felt like fire. My vision blurred. I tripped twice, scraped my arms, didn't stop. Finally, I reached the tree line near the trailhead. I could see the dirt road through the branches, and that's when I saw him. A man standing between me and the parking turnout. He stepped forward, tall, wearing a dark jacket, no expression, dirty boots, the same tread pattern I'd seen by the creek. He didn't move toward me. He just blocked the trail, staring. Behind me, I heard the second man crashing through the brush. I was trapped, so I made the only move I had. I threw my pack at the guy blocking the trail, turned hard right, and bolted downhill straight through the dense forest. Branches ripped at my arms. My shins hit rocks. I had no path, just gravity and desperation. I didn't stop until I heard the distant hum of an engine. A car. I burst out onto a service road and flagged down a truck, screaming for help. The older couple driving didn't ask many questions. They drove me straight to the nearest ranger station. Rangers went back to my campsite the next morning. They didn't find the men. But they did find a set of fresh boot prints, a cut section of my paracord, a spot where someone had been sitting and watching my tent, and a makeshift lean-to shelter about 300 yards from where I'd camped, clearly lived in recently. Inside they found food wrappers, cigarette butts, and an empty bottle of whiskey. Whoever those men were, they had been out there for a while, watching hikers, studying them, possibly stalking them. The rangers told me this wasn't the first report of strange activity in that area, but nobody had gotten as close as I did. 3 weeks after I got home, I received a call from the ranger I had spoken to. They had finished checking the area more thoroughly. Inside the shelter, hidden under a tarp, they found something they missed the first time. A disposable camera. Most of the photos were nothing. Trees, trails, animals. But one of the photos was different. It was a picture of me, taken at dusk. I was kneeling by the creek on my first night, filtering water. The angle made it clear. The photographer had been standing no more than 30 feet behind me. To this day, I don't know what those men wanted, or how long they'd been out there. I don't know if they were drifters, criminals hiding in the mountains, or just predators who learn the wilderness lets them get close to people unseen. All I know is this: the Rockies used to be my escape. Now they're the place where I learned the truth. You never really know who's sharing the woods with you, and some people go into the mountains because they know nobody will hear you scream.